What happens when one of Hollywood's most mysterious stars sits down with daytime TV's most outspoken panel, only for everything to unravel? Today, we're looking at the heated confrontation that had everyone talking the moment Johnny Depp went head-to-head with The View's Joy Behar in one of the most intense exchanges in daytime TV. This isn't just another celebrity interview collapsing on air. It's a clear example of how fast things can fall apart when egos collide and lines get crossed. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment below, because you won't want to miss any moment of this breakdown. The studio lights blazed as Johnny Depp settled into The View's familiar curved desk. His signature inks caught the overhead glow as he adjusted his dark blazer. Whoopi Goldberg sat at the head of the table, her expression already hinting at the tension that was about to erupt. "Welcome back to The View," Whoopi began, her voice carrying its usual authority. "We're here with Johnny Depp, and we have a lot to cover." Joy Behar, seated directly across from Depp, leaned in with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Johnny, thanks for joining us. I have to say, it's bold of you to come on a show where we actually ask real questions." Depp's eyebrows lifted slightly, his tone measured. "Well, Joy, I don't shy away from real conversations, though I am curious what you consider real questions as opposed to, let's say, tabloid-style fishing." The audience stirred, picking up on the immediate friction. Sarah Haynes, to Depp's right, stepped in with a diplomatic smile. "What Johnny means is that he's here to talk about his upcoming projects and his return to Hollywood. Is he though?" Joy cut in, her tone sharpening. "Because I think we need to address the elephant in the room first. Johnny, your recent legal battles were very public, very messy, and a lot of people want to know if you've learned anything from all of it." Depp tapped his fingers once on the table, a subtle sign of frustration. "Joy, the court of public opinion has spoken. And more importantly, so has the actual court. I'm here to talk about moving forward, not to rehash the past for your entertainment." Alyssa Farah Griffin, seated between Joy and Sarah, tried to mediate. "I think what Joy means is that accountability matters, and your supporters want to know you've grown from everything that happened." "Accountability," Depp repeated with a faintly mocking tone. "Interesting choice of words. Alyssa, tell me, when was the last time anyone on this panel was held accountable for spreading misinformation or making character attacks on national TV?" Joy's face reddened. "Excuse me, are you saying we spread misinformation? Because I can assure you, everything I've said about your situation comes from documented facts." "Documented facts," Depp echoed, leaning back. "Joy, you've spent years portraying me as some kind of monster using allegations disproven in court. Yet, I don't hear you offering corrections or apologies." The tension was thick. Whoopi attempted to steady the room. "Let's take a breath. Johnny, I think what everyone's trying to say is that people make mistakes, and the question is how we move forward." "Move forward," Depp said with a bitter edge. "Whoopi, I've been trying to move forward for years, while people like Joy have profited from tearing me down. There's a difference between accountability and publicly crucifying someone for ratings." Joy slammed her hand on the table. "Oh, so now I'm the villain for holding celebrities accountable. Maybe the issue isn't the media. Maybe the issue is that you can't handle being questioned by women who aren't afraid to speak truth to power." "Strong women," Depp said with a humorless laugh. "Joy, there's nothing strong about hiding behind a talk show desk to attack someone's character. Real strength is admitting when you're wrong and acknowledging the damage you've done." Sunny Hostin, who had been silent, finally spoke. "Johnny, I think you're being unfair. As journalists and commentators, we have a responsibility to ask tough questions, especially regarding issues that affect women." "Journalists," Depp turned to Sunny. "Is that what you call yourselves? Because real journalists verify sources and report facts, not repeat gossip and speculation as if it's truth." Joy's voice rose to a near shout. "How dare you come on our show and lecture us on journalism? You're an actor, not a reporter. You have no idea what real journalism is." "You're right," Joy Depp replied quietly, dangerously calm. "I'm an actor, and as an actor, I know the difference between playing a role and being genuine. What I see here is a group playing the part of journalists while acting like tabloid entertainers." The studio audience was silent now, the tension so dense it felt like it could be cut in two. Sarah Haynes looked shaken, glancing between her co-hosts and their increasingly upset guest. "I think we need a commercial break," she whispered urgently to the producers off camera, but Joy wasn't done. "No, let's keep going. Johnny, since you want to talk about authenticity, let's talk about your authentic behavior. Let's talk about the text messages read in court, the substance issues, the documented pattern." Depp's composure finally slipped. "Joy, you want to talk about patterns? Then let's talk about your pattern of attacking men in entertainment. Your pattern of assuming guilt before innocence. Your pattern of using your platform to wreck careers and reputations." "I ruin careers." Joy's voice was incredulous. "You ruined your own career, Johnny. I just reported on it." "Reported on it?" Depp leaned forward, eyes blazing. "You didn't report anything. You took part in a character assassination campaign. You chose a side without knowing the full story and pushed millions of viewers to do the same." Alyssa tried desperately to intervene. "I think we're missing the point here, Johnny, in the court of public opinion, people were trying to make sense of a complicated situation. The court of public opinion, Depp repeated mockingly. Alyssa, that's the issue. There should be only one court that matters, the actual legal system. But people like Joy created their own kangaroo court and made themselves judge and jury. Whoopi's attempts to keep order were slipping. Johnny, you need to calm down. This is getting out of control. Calm down. Depp's voice carried years of pent-up frustration. Whoopi, I've been calm while my name was destroyed by people who had already decided who I was. I've been calm while my career was dismantled by a mob mentality that these women helped build. Joy stood abruptly, pointing at Depp. You know what your problem is, Johnny. You can't handle that women have voices now. You can't handle that we aren't silent anymore when men behave badly. Depp rose as well, his voice sharp. Joy, this isn't about women having voices. It's about you using yours irresponsibly and hiding behind feminism when someone calls you out. The studio fell into an unsettling silence as Johnny Depp and Joy Behar stood across from each other at the curved desk, the weight of their confrontation hanging like a storm cloud. The other panelists sat frozen, unsure whether to intervene or let the moment unfold. Hiding behind feminism, Joy repeated, her voice trembling with anger. Johnny, you have some nerve coming on this show and attacking women who have spent their careers fighting for equality and justice. Fighting for equality, Depp said, stunned. Joy, you've spent your career tearing people down for ratings. There's nothing equal or just about ruining someone's life over accusations that weren't proven. Sunny Hostin finally spoke, her legal training pushing her forward. Johnny, with respect, the court did present evidence showing concerning behavior patterns. We can't ignore that. Depp turned to her, frustration clear. Sunny, evidence can be twisted, taken out of context, weaponized. You know that, as a lawyer, but instead of waiting for the full picture, this panel convicted me in the court of public opinion. Oh please, Joy scoffed, still standing. You're acting like an innocent victim. The texts alone showed anger and violence that were deeply troubling. Texts. Depp's laugh was bitter. Joy, have you never sent a text in anger? Never vented to a friend about someone who hurt you? The difference is, your private moments aren't dissected by millions looking for reasons to destroy you. Alyssa shifted uncomfortably, trying to find middle ground. Johnny, I think Joy means that when you're a public figure, people expect a higher standard of behavior. A higher standard, Depp echoed. Alyssa, what about a higher standard of journalism? Or waiting for facts before judgment? Or treating people as innocent until proven guilty? Whoopi, unusually quiet until now, leaned forward with a stern look. Johnny, I think you're being unfair to my colleagues. We report news, and your legal issues were news. Report news. Depp's eyes flashed. Whoopi, there's a difference between reporting and constructing a narrative. Joy didn't just report on my legal battles. She actively campaigned against me, Depp said. She shaped public opinion before the facts were even clear. Joy slammed her hand on the desk, again. I campaigned for women who don't have your power and privilege. I campaigned for victims who needed someone to speak for them when they couldn't speak for themselves. Victims, Depp replied, his voice dangerously low. What about victims of false accusations? What about people whose lives are destroyed by lies and manipulation? Don't they deserve someone to defend them? Sarah Haynes, who had been trying to stay neutral, finally spoke with clear distress. I think we all need to step back. This conversation is getting too heated, and I don't think it's helping anyone. Joy spun toward Sarah. Some conversations are supposed to be heated. Some issues are worth fighting over. We can't sweep things aside just because they make people uncomfortable. Depp latched onto her words. You're absolutely right. Joy, some conversations deserve a fight, like discussing how daytime television has become a tool for character assassination. How panels like this one ruin people's lives without consequences. Sunny tried to interject. Johnny, that isn't fair. We've had many guests who were given a chance to tell their side. Tell their side. Depp said incredulously. Sunny, I'm trying to tell my side right now, and I'm being attacked for it. This isn't a discussion, it's an ambush. Joy's face was flushed. An ambush. Johnny, you knew exactly what kind of show this was. You knew we asked tough questions. We don't softball celebrities. Tough questions. Depp's control was slipping. Joy, tough questions are about upcoming projects or creative work. What you're doing is relitigating a court case that's already been decided. Alyssa looked desperately toward the producers. Maybe we should take that commercial break now. But Joy didn't back down. No, let's finish. Johnny, you want to talk about court cases? Let's talk about the fact that you lost your case in the UK. Let's talk about the multiple witnesses who testified against you. Depp's eyes burned with anger. Joy, this proves my point. You pick and choose facts that support your narrative. You're not interested in truth, you're interested in being right. I am interested in truth, Joy fired back. And the truth is, your behavior has been problematic for years. Instead of owning it, you blame the media for talking about it. Problematic behavior. Depp's voice rose. Joy, what about your problematic behavior? What about the way you've used your platform to ruin careers? What about how you've influenced millions to hate someone they've never met? Whoopi stood, her voice firm. All right, that's enough. Johnny, you need to calm down and remember where you are. Calm down. Depp turned toward her. Whoopi, I've been calm for years, while people like Joy tore my reputation apart. I stayed calm while my career was dismantled by a mob mentality. This show helped fuel mob mentality. Joy's voice shook with rage. Standing up for abused women isn't mob mentality. It's basic decency. Standing up for women. Depp let out a harsh laugh. Joy, you weren't standing up for anyone. You were standing up for ratings. For your agenda. For everything except the truth. Sarah looked close to tears. Please, can we just try to have a civilized conversation? Civilized? Joy repeated incredulously. Sarah, there's nothing civilized about what Johnny did. Nothing civilized about his behavior. Nothing civilized about him coming here and attacking us for doing our jobs. Depp's patience finally shattered. Your jobs, Joy. Your job is supposed to be informing the public, not manipulating them. Seeking truth, not creating controversy for profit. Don't you dare lecture me about my job. Joy's voice was venomous. I've been in this business longer than you've been acting, and I don't need some washed-up actor telling me how journalism works. The words hung in the air like a breaking point. The studio was silent, the audience frozen. Depp's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. Washed-up actor. Joy, that's exactly the kind of personal attack that reveals your true nature. You can't win with facts, so you turn to insults. Insults? Joy shot back. I'm stating facts. Your career has been declining for years, and instead of taking responsibility, you blame everyone else. Sunny tried desperately to intervene. Joy, maybe we should tone this down a bit. No. Joy's voice was firm. Sunny, I'm tired of walking on eggshells around men who can't handle being held accountable. Johnny needs to hear this. Deb's eyes were blazing with fury. Joy, you want to talk about accountability? Let's talk about your accountability. When was the last time you apologized for being wrong? When was the last time you took responsibility for the damage your words have caused? I don't owe you an apology. Joy's voice was ice cold. I don't owe any man an apology for speaking truth to power. Alyssa was frantically signaling to the producers. We really need to take a break now. But the confrontation had reached its climax, and nothing could stop it. The tension that had been building throughout the interview was about to explode into something that would mark daytime television history. The studio was electric with tension as Johnny Depp and Joy Behar faced off in what had become the most explosive confrontation in The View's history. The other panelists sat helplessly as years of frustration and animosity erupted into open conflict. Speaking truth to power, Depp's voice was filled with contempt. Joy, you wouldn't know truth if it slapped you in the face. You've built your entire career on sensationalism and character assassination. Joy's face was crimson with rage. Character assassination. Johnny, I didn't assassinate your character. Your character assassinated itself through your own actions. My own actions? Depp's composure was gone. Joy, my actions were twisted and manipulated by people like you to fit a narrative that sold magazines and got ratings. You never cared about the truth. Whoopi tried to regain control. Johnny, Joy, please. This is getting out of hand. We need to take a step back. No, Whoopi. Joy's voice was defiant. I'm not backing down. Johnny came on our show to promote himself, and he's going to hear what I have to say. Depp laughed bitterly. Promote myself. Joy, I came on this show thinking I might get a fair interview. Instead, I walked into a lynch mob. Lynch mob. Joy sounded incredulous. Johnny, you're being dramatic. We're asking legitimate questions about your behavior. Legitimate questions. Depp shouted. Joy, you haven't asked a single legitimate question. You've made accusations, passed judgment, and treated me like I'm guilty of crimes I was never convicted of. Sarah Haynes was shaking. Please, can we try to calm down and have a rational discussion? Rational. Joy turned on Sarah. There's nothing rational about defending someone who has shown such problematic behavior patterns. Problematic behavior patterns. Depp's eyes flashed. Joy, let's talk about your problematic behavior patterns. Let's talk about how you attack anyone who disagrees with you. Let's talk about how you use your platform to destroy people's lives. Sunny tried to intervene. Johnny, I think you're being unfair to Joy. She's been a champion for women's rights for decades. Women's rights, Depp said with sarcasm. Sunny, Joy doesn't champion women's rights. She champions her own agenda. She uses women's rights as a weapon to attack anyone she disagrees with. Joy slammed both hands on the desk. How dare you? How dare you come on my show and attack everything I've worked for? Your show. Depp's voice was dangerous. Joy, this isn't your show. It's supposed to be a panel discussion, but you've turned it into your personal vendetta platform. Alyssa was waving at the producers again. We really need to cut to commercial now, but Joy continued. Johnny, you know what your real problem is? You can't handle that women aren't afraid of you anymore. You can't handle that we're not going to sit quietly while men like you get away with everything. Men like me? Depp's voice was venomous. Joy, you don't know anything about men like me. You've created a fictional version of me in your head to justify your hatred. Fictional version. Joy's voice rose. Johnny, I've seen the evidence. I've read the court documents. I've heard the testimony. There's nothing fictional about your behavior. Depp leaned forward, his voice low. Joy, you've seen what you wanted to see. You've read what fit your narrative. You've heard what confirmed your bias. You never cared about the full picture. Whoopi stood, her voice commanding. That's it. Johnny, I think you need to leave. Leave. Depp turned to her. Whoopi, I'm being attacked by your co-host and you're asking me to leave. You're being combative and disrespectful, Whoopi said sternly. This is not how guests behave on this show. Disrespectful. Depp's laugh was harsh. Whoopi, I've been disrespected from the moment I sat down. I've been treated like a criminal by people who appointed themselves judge and jury. Joy's voice was triumphant. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Johnny can't handle being questioned by strong women, so he resorts to personal attacks. Personal attacks? Depp sounded incredulous. Joy, you called me a washed-up actor. You've spent this entire interview attacking my character, my career, and my reputation, but somehow I'm the one making personal attacks. Sarah Haynes was on the verge of tears. Please, this is getting way too heated. Can we please just try to end this civilly? Civilly? Joy mocked her. Sarah, there's nothing civil about what Johnny has done. There's nothing civil about his behavior, and there's nothing civil about him coming on our show and attacking us. Depp's patience finally snapped. Joy, you want to talk about what isn't civil? What's not civil is destroying someone's reputation based on lies. What's not civil is influencing millions of people to hate someone they've never met. What's not civil is using your platform to ruin careers and lives. I didn't ruin your career, Joy said coldly. You ruined your own career, and now you're looking for someone to blame. Someone to blame. Depp's voice was filled with rage. Joy, I'm not looking for someone to blame. I'm looking at someone who helped orchestrate a character assassination campaign against me. Sonny tried desperately to intervene. Johnny, I think you're being unfair. Joy has always been an advocate for justice. Justice. Depp turned to her. Sonny, where's the justice in condemning someone before all the facts are in? Where's the justice in treating accusations as convictions? Whoopi's voice was firm. Johnny, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the set. This interview is over. Depp sounded incredulous. Whoopi, this interview was over before it started. You brought me here to be executed in public, not to have a conversation. Joy's voice was filled with satisfaction. Johnny, you're proving my point exactly? You can't handle being held accountable, so you're throwing a tantrum. A tantrum. Depp's voice turned dangerous. Joy, standing up for yourself isn't throwing a tantrum. Defending your reputation isn't throwing a tantrum. What you've done to me, that's throwing a tantrum. Alyssa was practically pleading with the producers. Security. We need security. But Depp was already standing, his voice cutting through the chaos. Don't worry, Alyssa. I'm leaving. But I want everyone watching to remember this moment. I want them to remember how I was treated here today. Remember what? Joy shot back defiantly. Remember how you couldn't handle being questioned? Remember how you attacked women who were just doing their jobs? Depp turned to Joy one final time. Joy, I want them to remember how you used your platform to destroy someone's life. I want them to remember how you treated accusations as facts. I want them to remember how you showed no compassion, no fairness, and no integrity. Joy's voice was shrill. Don't you dare lecture me about integrity. You have no right to talk about integrity after everything you've done. Depp's final words were delivered with devastating calm. Joy, the difference between you and me is that I've been held accountable for my actions in a court of law. You've never been held accountable for anything you've done from behind that desk. As Depp walked off the set, the studio fell into stunned silence. The other panelists sat frozen, processing what had just unfolded. Joy's face was flushed with victory, though something hollow lingered in her eyes. Whoopi tried to salvage the moment. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue with our planned programming. But everyone knew the confrontation would be talked about for years. The clash between Johnny Depp and Joy Behar had become a defining moment in daytime television. A stark example of how quickly things can spiral out of control when personal conflict collides with a public platform. The cameras kept rolling as Depp disappeared through the studio doors, leaving behind a panel that had gotten exactly what they wanted, though at a heavy cost. The audience sat in stunned silence, unsure whether they had just witnessed justice or character assassination. And that's how one of Hollywood's most controversial figures was removed from one of daytime TV's most influential shows in a confrontation that exposed the side of how the media treats celebrities who dare to challenge the narrative. So tell me, was Johnny Depp out of line for defending himself so aggressively, or was Joy Behar wrong for attacking him so relentlessly? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more explosive celebrity confrontations and behind-the-scenes drama you won't see anywhere else.